Welcome back to 7 Moons Astrology. My name is Sarah Kirby. Today we are talking about the full moon in Sagittarius, an energy that's building now, coming exact on the 14th of June at about 7 in the morning Central Time. What I'm going to do in this video is take you through at the highest level what this energy means, a general interpretation that should apply to everybody with as many examples as I can think of for how this energy may manifest in our lives. So some of these things may apply to you. You'll most likely resonate with quite a few of them, and some others might be specific and intended for somebody else who watches this video. So I'm going to start at the highest, most general level and then dig down into the granular details of the different aspects that the full moon is making. There are some great things about this energy. There are some potentially challenging things about this energy. And of course, the way that it plays out is multifold for a number of people, right? You never know what you're going to get with the astrology. So I will do my best to give you a detailed explanation of what are the potentialities of this energy. And then you can check out my Instagram at 7 Moons Astrology for a detailed 12 sign energy forecast in a written format that I post for every new and full moon. So let's get into it, because I've got the chart up on the screen for the full moon, which is depicted here by the moon at 23 degrees Sagittarius with my ugly circle. Let's redo that. 23 degrees Sagittarius opposed by the sun at 23 degrees Gemini. This opposition is a full moon from the perspective of Earth, and in the astrology, full moons are representative of a culmination of things boiling to a head. It's when the light of the moon is brightest in the sky, and therefore our consciousness is more aware of the moving parts and pieces of the path of our life. This is where we can measure up our progress against our intentions, our goals, the things that we wish to create, the things that we're working on growing in our lives, against reality. We can see where we're really at. And because of that, you know, we're usually able to notice some successes, some completions, and also we become aware of things that we have missed, things that we have forgotten, things that we still need to do. And that's because oppositions are about an integration of two very different energies. It's trying to meet in the middle of two opposing forces. That's what any opposition in the astrology is about, but particularly a full moon. So what are we integrating here? Well, it's Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini, the sun in Gemini, is the energy of facts. It's the energy of information. It's studying things, knowing things because we've learned them, sharing information, absorbing, assimilating information, factual information, using logic, using rationale to understand our environment. Well, Sagittarius, on the other hand, is quite different than that. Sagittarius is about intuition. Sagittarius is about higher perspective and faith. So Sagittarius, the energy of this full moon, is about things that we know because we just know them. Not because we learned them somewhere, not because we have studied it, because we have searched it, because we have found this information somewhere. It's knowing that we have experientially, and it's knowing that we receive from a higher place, knowing that we sort of download from our relationship with however you would like to describe higher power or intelligent design of the universe. You know, so this is not something that we can rationalize away at the full moon in Sagittarius. So I think right now, at the very top level of this energy, at the most general sense, what we're doing is figuring out a balance between practical information that we've learned, that we've studied, using our logic, making choices rationally based on facts, and guiding our life decisions by our inner knowing, letting God lead the way, trusting in a higher power, and moving by faith. It's the integration of both of these things. Okay? So let's dive into the energy of the moon in Sagittarius even more, because that's the prominent force here, is this Sagittarian energy. What is Sagittarius about? Well, it's freedom. It's what makes us feel free and liberated and joyful and optimistic and hopeful. It's the energy of being so sure, so positive, that We know things will work out because we trust in a higher power, and we can see very far into the distance that things are going to be okay. It's about our higher vision. Maybe not necessarily knowing the details of how we're going to get there, but it's the long-term goal and the far away, distant picture. Sometimes this can be a bit of grass is always greener on the other side, feeling a bit restless, because if we're not feeling free at this moment, which I'll get into later, that can be very aggravating at this time. Because Sagittarius is about our expansion and our growth and our ability to move freely and to be a free spirit. Yeah. Sagittarius is also about higher forms of study. So not just what we learn in school, but, higher level degrees, higher level topics of philosophy, how the world works, figuring out our morals, our ethics, our beliefs, and what is true for us. Another key word for Sagittarius is truth. Sagittarius is very concerned with saying what is true, intuiting what is true, teaching what is true, finding what is true, and moving on from anything that feels stagnant and old, moving on from anything that feels limiting and restricting in order to chase the horizon, right? The archetype of the centaur, reaching for the stars, the far off distant goal. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep exploring, which is why Sagittarius is also associated with travel, long distance travel, exploration of foreign cultures, those things. So at the very least, we're probably coming to a point in time now where we have had intentions to create more freedom, create more spaciousness, create more abundance, an opportunity for things to feel easier, for things to feel more hopeful, for things to feel more positive. And around this time at the full moon, at the very least, we're able to recognize that some of that has manifested. Things have occurred which allow us to feel more free, more abundant, more positive, more faithful, more hopeful. Not everywhere. There are some sticking points with this energy. There are some obstacles to us feeling completely free, and I'm going to get there. There are some obstacles in the way that cause us to doubt, that shake our faith. There are certainly some obstacles. But at the very least, we're able to really take a look around and say, things are better. I'm feeling better than I was before 6 months ago, a year ago, when it comes to the topics of Sagittarius, growing in faith, trusting intuition more, freely exploring in our own lives through experience, experiential learning versus factual study. All right, so what is supporting us in this energy feeling good? What sort of things have occurred recently leading up to this full moon or around this time that are supporting us? Well, I think at the very least, I want to go here to Saturn, because Saturn is making positive, harmonious aspects to this full moon. Okay, so it's trine to Saturn. Trine is a 60-degree aspect. And just kidding, trine is a 120-degree aspect. That's Mercury retrograde shadow. And the moon is 60 degrees sextile to Saturn. Both of these energies are harmonious. These are geometries of the planets from the perspective of Earth, geometrical relationships that are indicative of harmonious interactions. They're indicative that the planets are working to our favor, which makes me more inclined to believe that these are positive shifts, that these are developments in our lives that are helpful, useful, and contributing to the positive manifestations of Sagittarius energy, the faith, the hope, the intuition, the freedom, the abundance, positivity. So what is Saturn? Saturn is the father figure. Saturn is authority. Saturn is our bosses. Saturn is our careers, our legacies, our responsibility, our self-discipline, our commitments to structure and handling things like mature adults. Saturn is the work that we put in. Saturn is about making the choices that are sometimes difficult, but are definitely the right thing to do. Definitely the right thing to do. And so I think at the very least, we've recently been able to look and see that we have matured a lot. We've matured a lot through the challenges that we've been experiencing related to Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn just went into retrograde motion here. So very recently, about a week ago, it went retrograde. And so when Saturn is in direct motion, we're focused on creating, when Saturn is in direct motion, we tend to encounter a lot of external challenges and circumstances that demand more maturity out of us, demand us to take responsibility, demand us to work harder. And when it goes retrograde, it feels easier to do that. When it goes retrograde, it feels easier to look inside and make the mature choice. When it goes retrograde, it becomes more about the internal self-discipline, less about checking off all the boxes about the things that I do every day that I'm committing to, but more about my inner growth and making mature choices. So, maybe you're recently in good favor with management. Maybe you're in good favor with your boss, or getting a promotion, or a change in your work situation that helps you to feel more free and empowered. Helps you to have more faith that things are working out in your favor, helps you to feel more abundant. Thank you to the hard work, Saturn, the commitments, Saturn, that you've put in. This could also be, for many people, a positive interaction with the father. The father figure. Saturn is related to the father figure, to elders, to male figures in general, males with power and authority. And this could be a positive reunion with the father. This could be a reconnection with father in a way that helps us to feel more hopeful about what the future will hold. This could be a moment in time in which we're able to feel more free now because we put in the work. We've been putting in the work. Work is not over. We've been putting in the work, but we're able to see how putting in the work is leading to a life of more freedom and abundance. It's the moment in time sort of where discipline and responsibility start to feel good. It starts to feel good. So that's one of the positive things I think about this energy. Now, if you're not feeling this, if this is going negative for you, there could be some resistance to doing those things. There could be some resistance to structuring your life in a way that you've got to assume some more adult responsibility for what's going on. Structuring your life in a way in which you show up for the things you know you need to do, that you know are right, that create the best long-term stable results. Doing things methodically. Doing things with a sense of duty. Showing up for the work. If you're resisting those things, what you might be feeling instead when it comes to this energy is restlessness and a feeling of restriction. Feeling like you can't be free. You're just wanting to be free. Sometimes with this Sagittarian influence, we can be prone to throwing caution to the wind and taking risks. It's a fire sign. We can just say F it and move right on. Saturn here in harmonious aspect is going to slow us down in a way that helps us to have the energy and commitment we need to see things through in the long term. And I think that this is a positive thing. We want to be slower in our approach so that we can really make the change that we're after, that we know will have us feeling more free and abundant, positive, hopeful, faithful, all of those things for a long, long time. Do it for real this time, right? So things that could be challenging about this moon. I'm not done with this, actually. Going back to Saturn, I want to talk about the sun in Gemini. 2 weeks ago, we just set intentions around the new moon in Gemini for something new in the realm of Gemini energy. So this could be a lot of things: a new business, a new course, a new skill that we're studying, a new relationship that we're cultivating with a group, with our community, with our neighbors, something new that we're learning about, a new trip that we're taking, a new community, reconnecting with extended family, reconnecting with siblings, a new car, I said new trip. Something that we want to build here a new way of communicating, a new mindset, getting more curious about a new way of doing things. And what I think Saturn means here is that at first we weren't quite sure about the details. We had this idea of how we wanted to move forward, but we didn't know what the details would look like, especially because at that time Mercury was retrograde. Mercury is associated with Gemini and also Virgo ruling the details, the plan, the strategy. And so we didn't know what those things were, but then we had the first quarter moon in Virgo a week ago, which helped us to understand, I think, more the strategy of how to do it, what the schedule needs to be to make it happen, this thing that we're wanting to do that we know will lead to more abundance, freedom, positivity, exploration, faith, happiness. And now 1 week ago, because we had that first quarter square in the moon, we figured out more of those details. The details are still coming, but we figured out more of them. And because of that, we're able to commit to a structured plan. We're able to commit to doing things with a regular routine because we know it's going to take a long time and we're here to show up for it, and we know the path and we can see it. We can see the far off distance, and we have enough of the details to at least make it to the next step. We don't know what's going to come right after the first step, but we at least know what the first step is. And because we can see point Z all the way in the distance, and we finally know what points A and maybe B are, we can do A and B, and then C will become clear. And we know what our routine needs to be in order to make sure that we can see this through in the long term. So that's an additional thing that I think is positive about this energy. Okay, so what are the obstacles, right? There's a few obstacles. First being Neptune, 25 degrees in the sign of Pisces, making a very tight square here. Let's get rid of some of these things so that you can see what I'm talking about. So, square. This is a T-square to the full moon, Neptune, within 2-degree orb, pretty tight. So, typically these manifest in a way that can feel a little sticky. It can also go positively, but typically a T-square means that there's some kind of challenge, block, obstacle. And what is Neptune? Well, Neptune in Pisces, a lot of things. It's rest, solitude, slowing down to receive. So maybe what's happening here is you're leaning too far into Saturn, and you could feel blocked. You can feel confused. If you're feeling blocked and confused, the invitation here, the action that is needed, is to rest. Take time to rest. Take time out to yourself. Be alone. That's what Neptune is about, solitude, rest. So that you can dream and receive creative wisdom. What I think is really happening here is related to the energy of having this T-square be in the mutable signs. Pisces, Sag, Gemini, mutable. Mutable signs, when they're in square, typically the problem is that we're repressing something. We're so adaptable, we're so on the go, we're constantly changing, we're doing this now, and we're doing that over here, and we're thinking about this thing, and we're moving over there, and it's this, that, and the other thing too fast. We have these emotions that come up. We have these needs. The physical body needs something. Your emotional body needs something. But you're all Saturn right now. Saturn's strong. The influence of Saturn is strong in this energy. You're all keep to the commitment, keep to the discipline, keep to the routine. But maybe you're one of the people listening that doesn't really know what steps A and B are. That clarity hasn't come through yet because the Neptunian influence is too strong. And that could be one of the many reasons that could be is because you're not resting. You're repressing the need to rest because maybe it doesn't feel valid to you right now because you're all work, commitment, discipline. You need time to dream. You need time to philosophize. You need to create the spaciousness and the expansion so that you can relax, receive, and dream and see the farther vision of where you're going and call in the details of what A and B are going to be, if this is you. Now, another thing that this could be, if you're not feeling so great around this full moon, is also related to Neptune. Neptune is about ideals, fantasies, dreams, okay? Neptune is about our rose-colored vision of what reality can be. Sagittarius is about the far-off vision, and it's constantly thinking about what's next, and the grass is always greener. So you might have realized around this time that things are not what you hoped they could be, actually. And that can block you from feeling positively about what is. So one of the things that happened just before this full moon is that Venus comes exact with Uranus at 16 degrees, which means there's some kind of unexpected situation or insight with love, money, relationships, self-worth, material possessions, food. Something unexpected happens there. Ultimately, I think that is probably a positive influence for most people, but for some, it could have kind of swung negative. A surprise could pop up that you weren't expecting, and that can make you feel a little non-committal, wanting to move on to the next thing. Grass is always greener. Having to confront that things aren't what you thought that they would be, and feeling kind of frustrated about that, or perhaps repressing the fact that you feel upset about that. You might be really tired because Mars is conjunct Chiron at 15 degrees. Mars is conjunct Chiron. Well, Mars is our motivation, it's our action, it's our determination, it's our willpower, it's our drive for achievement, it's our striving, our ambition, okay? It's the doing, okay? So all of this energy, this Neptune, this Sagittarius, this Gemini, it's all about thinking and thinking and thinking, and it's about dreaming and idealizing what can be, and there's kind of a call to get moving. You want to get moving, you want to start doing, but maybe you're zapped for energy, maybe you're zapped for motivation. Chiron wounding Mars. Neptune calling you to rest. This Chiron Mars conjunction here could also be healing. It could be a positive influence. A conjunction can swing both positive and negative. So this might be about healing your relationship with motivation, action, healing your relationship with exercise, healing your relationship with male figures, healing your relationship with self-assertion, healing your relationship with decisiveness. Could be positive in that regard too, and that could be some of the influence that is helping you to feel more positive and hopeful around this time and in a position to receive and dream. Could go either way. But sometimes with this, we could be feeling super rushed as well. We could be feeling anxious, trying to do everything at once, trying to do everything really fast, trying to get it done so quickly that we miss details, accidentally include incorrect, false, or deceptive information in the things that we're studying, in the things that we're communicating, in the things that we are sharing, in the things that we are teaching. If you do it too fast, that's Mars conjunct Chiron. If you do it, what is the it? Sun in Gemini, teaching, studying, learning, sharing information, communicating, working on media projects, collaborating together. If you do that, Moon in Sagittarius, because you're so optimistic and you're so hopeful and you're so focused on the big picture instead of the details, well, then you might accidentally put yourself in a situation where you haven't been totally truthful, which is what's most important to you at this time, or somebody else hasn't been totally truthful with you, that you could be on the receiving end of this. There's some kind of deception going on, whether intentful or accidental, because Neptune is about confusion, lack of clarity, things being deceitful. So that could be happening as well. Neptune is also about escapism. Neptune is also about substances, any kind of addiction. Maybe it's shopping. Maybe it's spending money. Venus conjunct Uranus. Spending money on new things all the time. New. Having to get new things all of the time. Mars conjunct Chiron is about new things all of the time, especially with Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Constantly getting bored with the old and having to get new things and redo things. So maybe you have some kind of spending addiction. Maybe you have some kind of compulsion going on where you're kind of escaping from the things that you are repressing, wanting to feel free, wanting to feel abundant, wanting to feel closer to God, wanting to feel more faithful, more connected, wanting to explore, wanting to travel, wanting to pursue some kind of higher education, wanting to move to a new country, wanting to anything related to Sagittarius here. Could be repressing some of that. Could be repressing what your intuition is telling you in favor of what is more factual or information that you can, find on the internet and trust that instead of what you know inside deep down to be true. And so you could be running from that. You could be escaping from that. You could be refusing to commit to the thing that you know you need to do deep down inside, the thing that God is telling you to do, the messages that you are receiving, and escaping into an ideal fantasy world of what looks like it's good on the outside, or, some kind of repeating subconscious pattern or addiction that you have that kind of forces you to take a time out, or leads you to receive some information that is deceptive, receive information that is neither factual, Gemini, nor intuitively true from a God-centered place, but deceptive. Comes with attachments, that kind of thing. Neptune is also associated with prisons. And so because Sagittarius is about freedom, you should ask yourself around the time of this full moon, what is keeping you from being free? You've created a lot of freedom, no doubt. There have been recent developments along this full moon in Sagittarius that are helping you to be more free. You've arranged some kind of situation here with the way that you communicate at work so that you can feel more free. You've started to study something that is going to help you to be more abundant later. You've identified the information that you were missing to help you trust what your intuition is saying. Something like that, right? But there's something that's still keeping you from being free. Something that's still deceiving you, confusing you. You might miss it because Sagittarius is so hopeful and optimistic and positive. You might be feeling that more, and you might ignore red flags, let's say. Yeah. This is, let's call this ignoring red flags. That could be a big theme for this energy. Being too positive. Still a way in which you're kind of escaping reality, let's say. One of the ways you might be doing that is, one of the ways in which you might be holding yourself back from being free is harboring unforgiveness. Some kind of wound with a masculine figure here, some kind of wound related to your relationship with your body, your relationship with exercise, your relationship with money, your relationship with other people, your relationship with food, your relationship with the father, your relationship with control and certainty. Something you need to forgive, perhaps. Something from the past that you need to let go of. Maybe this is a grief or a loss that you have suffered, an ending that has been challenging. Could repress some of those feelings around this time. I guess I could call that toxic positivity. Or you can be holding on to the past in a way that is curbing your sense of enthusiasm. Or you might know exactly what that thing is that you need to let go of. You might know what it is. And you might be repressing that choice, that decision, that knowing, because you're afraid of the loss. Excuse me. That's a divine confirmation. I think I'll end the video on that. So what are you afraid of that's keeping you from being free, from feeling expansive, from feeling abundant? Where are you harboring unforgiveness? Where are you refusing to let go of the past? Where are you refusing to put in the structure, the commitment, the discipline, the work? Where are you avoiding or repressing the choice, the emotions that need to come up, the decision you need to make, the thing you need to let go of, the thing that needs to end, the thing you need to move on from, the thing from the past that's holding you back. That's what's keeping you from being free. That's what's tricking you. That's what's deceiving you. That's what's stopping you from getting from like 85, 90% free. Because I think we're feeling pretty good. But to 100%. To 100%. Okay. Like I said, check out my Instagram for the forecast for all 12 signs. And if you like my videos, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next one with energy.